Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for men and women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be spoken upon, such as relationships, health and wellness, personal development, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and oh my God, welcome back to the Lady K Chat Podcast Season 3. This is our very first episode. I am so excited. We took a break in the summertime. It was beautiful. I enjoyed it, but I miss talking to you guys. But I'm just so excited to be back and just so introduce what we're doing in the month of September. We are honoring the men because they are some that so deserving. And we're going to talk about Black men in America. This is the Black Men in America series for the whole month of September. And it's pretty much, we are highlighting some of these men that came on my platform and just sharing their experience, that what they're doing in the community. But this gentleman right here, oh my God, y'all are in for a treat. This gentleman right here, he has so many hats. I don't know how he do it. This man right here is the former president of the NAACP. He is now the president of Monroe County United. He is also the radio host for Our Community and You. Please, everyone, help me welcome Dr. Thomas Jones. How are you, Tom?
I'm good. Thank you, Kalima. That was a very welcoming introduction. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome, Tom. It's such a blessing for you to be here. You know, I always love when you come back on my platform and you visit me. We always have a great time. We always have great conversations. And talking about conversation, Tom, when I was talking to you the other day, you said something so profound to me. You don't even know how much you struck me. So you was talking about a conversation that you had with a young man, and you were saying that, you know, he reached out to you and he told you that, you know, you made an impact in his life. And you said to me, and Kalima, you said, I had to hold back my tears. And if you don't remember, Tom, I said, Tom, why did you hold back your tears? You are deserving. And I kind of feel like a lot of men feel like they have to hold on to their tears. No, I want you guys to feel comfortable crying with joy because you are deserving, Tom. And so are the other men out there that's doing amazing things in the community. But I'm going to touch base on that. Why, Tom, do men have a hard time crying?
Well, I wouldn't say it's that hard for all men, you know, especially men who are passionate about what they do. I just held it back, I guess, at that moment for where I was. Okay. If I wasn't in a certain place, they probably would have rolled down my face because it was heartfelt, it was touching, and it came from someone that you knew that you tried to educate him. As far as train him in the way that what he wanted to do, that he would be able to do successfully. Okay. And, you know, things happen where, you know, you just part ways, not, I can say, in a manner of it was you part ways that wasn't good. I wouldn't say that. He just had to do his thing and I went off and did my thing. And Absolutely. For it to come back to the way he did it, and he did it on Father's Day. And it was, that's why it really got to me. And when I think about it, it still gets back to me because he acknowledged and let me know that I played an important role in his life as far as his journey that he's now experiencing. So that was good. But men should drop those tears every now and then. Why? Because it's refreshing. It allows him to show that he is human and that, you know, he's not the Rock of Gibraltar like a lot of people think men are, or say men don't cry. but real men do cry.
Thank you, Tom, for that. Yes, real men do cry. And when we say real men that's, that's in tune with themselves, that they're okay with their emotions, they know who they are and they know whose they are. And that's more important, because I feel like a man that's confused, or a man, who has insecurities, I feel those are the ones who are afraid sometimes to let it go. Do you agree with that? Or do you think it's more to it?
Well, yeah, because there are men like that, and I would even say some women that are like that. But men are like that because they don't want to show any weakness, and if they are, they rather shy away from giving that type of I won't say energy, but that type of information to other people to make them feel that they're not up to par, so to speak. Right. And they may feel that way, but they need to understand, and it's hard for a lot of them to understand, that it's okay to show that type of emotion, that all that is doing is releasing a bit of stress, from them, so they can really feel better about who they are. And, right. At that point, men are kind of insecure, with who they are and how they feel about what they're doing. And if they are wrong, they just don't want to accept that. So they will shy away from that part of really giving people their emotional side, so to speak.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. And I think also too, as a man goes on in life and as he mature and cultivate, that changes. But I also think that society plays a major role on why a lot of men feel like they can't cry, or why they feel like they can't open up. It's that structure, you're a man and, toughen up. But and I think that's incorrect. But that's why I love brothers like you who feel secure within themselves, who can show other men and young men the right way to do it. And that right there, that's the proper structure. And then talking about structure time, Tom, I want to kind of lead into, a man with integrity. What does a man with integrity look like, Tom?
Well, a man with integrity is a man that has a certain type of posture, that has a certain type of attitude, that is holding leadership at a high standard. You see what I'm saying? And right. Being that they holding leadership at a high standard, they have to be able to give direction and instruction in a positive mode, not a negative mode. And they also have to, how can I say, whatever they're teaching and whatever they're preaching, they have to walk the walk, and they have to talk the talk as well. Not just speak it and then do something else. They have to be able to lead by example. Okay. So if I'm going to be able to bring you underneath my umbrella, I have to be able to not only show you by saying it, I have to be able to show you that this is what Tom is doing. This Absolutely. Is how I'm doing it. And then this way they can follow, because people will look at you and say, well, you're telling me to do so-and-so and you're not doing this. What makes you any better than I am? Right. So when integrity is, I would say, a learning process, that men have to go through, because at the beginning, we may not have that integrity, that people will be able to look at us and say, that's a man that I want to follow. Right. People want to look at and say, hey, well, I like Barack Obama because I like his posture. I like how he speaks, and his delivery is making me say, I want to be like this man. You see what I'm saying? Even the current president, Biden, have to say that he shows empathy. You see what I'm saying? And he shows that type of posture where he cares for everyone. You see what I'm saying? Not just a select few. So he's a rounded person, so to speak, just like Barack Obama, and just like a whole lot of other men or good leaders that you could turn around and say, those guys have integrity and I want to be able to follow them. So, right now, in today's world, and you look for the youth, the young people, to try to have that because you want to train them to be leaders, and it's kind of hard to find those young men that are like that today, but the gentleman that I'm speaking about, he has that quality and he's still learning to project that. And where he's going to be able to do that. But we need more young men to be able to walk that walk and talk that talk. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. But the thing is, what people need to understand, and young men need to understand, that whatever goals that they have, they need to be able to go after them in a positive mode. And there's a way to go after it. How do I go after it? I go after it with being optimistic. I go after it with saying, staying focused on what their goals are and try to walk that walk that's going to take them, or that path that they need to walk that's going to take them to being successful. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's going to, that's how they're going to learn to have integrity, because the way they present themselves for the goals that they're going after.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of you, because you're talking to the young men, how they have to carry that, integrity. I am a firm believer that if we want these young men to walk that walk, they definitely need someone that they need to mimic, like you said, like the Barack Obama. So we need, and we do have, here's the thing I want to emphasize, we do have men in our community that's walking the walk, talking the talk, so these young people can emulate them, because we never know what goes on at their home. We never know that they biological father might not be that role. They might be present. And that's what a lot of men have to understand. Some men are just present in the home, like, they're just physically there. But are you really attentive? And there's a difference. So sometimes, these young men, they need to see someone else besides the biological or who they might have at home, because they might not get the exact need that they want. Or maybe the dad might be great in some areas, but then he needs another figure so he can feed off that energy. And that's why we all play a role in our community. We have no idea. I stress the fact that without people, there is no community. You just never know who you might touch. You never know who you might inspire. And like you said, you're still smiling from Father's Day. And right now we're in September. So I think that's a beautiful experience, Tom. And then talking about, you said what you're doing. So tell us, what are you doing these days?
Wow. Hey, look, it's all about making a difference, and making a difference with people, and trying to get people to come together, to support one another, interact with one another, fellowship with one another, and really try to find common ground with one another. And that's the key right there, being able to find common ground. And what I mean by that is because the climate that we're living in is so distorted at the moment. It's so many mixed messages of negativity that's going around, that we have to try to be able to get back to trying to love one another, so to speak, because we don't do that right now. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, we have to try to find common ground. And as you know, I'm the president of an organization called Monroe County United, where we build relationships and break barriers. And that's our mission, to build those relationships and break those barriers that have kept us separated or divided for so long. And that's what we're working on. Right now, we're into getting ready to start a series on July 22nd. Which is going to be finding common ground through humanity. That word humanity speaks a lot for where we're not at today. Because if you was to look up the definition, it will tell you all the good things that we should be doing as human beings. But we're not doing that today. So I got with the religious community, the Jewish religious leaders, Christian, Catholic, and Muslim, and they all got together, and we're putting a series together and have people come and speak on some of the topics of humanity, starting July 22nd. It started July 22nd, and it's going to go up until Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, we're going to have one big giant celebration on humanity with the religious community, even with the non-believers. We're bringing all of those series together, and we're going to have a celebration thanking God for bringing us all together. So that's about to happen. Along with, we have another project that's going on. It's called Braver Angels, and they have candid conversations on race relations. All right, that's all going to be taking place. The polarizing, they call it, race relations, and it has to do with basically the Reds and the Blues. We know what those are: Democrats and Republicans, who we know are screaming at each other. But this particular organization, which is called Braver Organizations, which Monroe County United is partnered with, have found a way where we come together and have candid conversations, not arguments, but candid conversations, and appreciate each and everybody's views. In other words, we're listening to one another. We're not screaming at one another. And I've been through one of those events where at the end, some people were feeling a certain kind of way, but, I had a lot of people came over to me saying, we really appreciate you coming. We appreciate your comments and things of that nature, because for some strange reason, I ended up being on the red side, the Republican side. So it was really interesting to try to be able to communicate how I felt about certain subjects. But these are the kind of conversations that our organization is really trying to implement in the community to bring people together so we can start talking to one another instead of hating one another. And there's also something else that we're trying to do. We're breaking the barriers with our local and state police department, which is on the table. We're putting together to have a community cookout with our local and state police, which will bring everybody in the community together with the kids and the things of that nature. We want to be able to interact with them. We don't want to have a discussion about why did you do this? Why did you do that? We already know what the climate is. The thing is, how can we fix it? We're trying to find the common ground with one another. And that's what we have to do, find common ground. Because at the end of the day, I had a interesting conversation with a group of white men that was interested in, hey, Tom, how can we contribute? We're sorry about this racial divide and things of that nature. And I asked them, I said, we probably do the same things, but we don't realize it. So let's see where we can find common ground. Hey, how many like the New York Giants? You get guys that raise their hands. How many people like cookouts? They raise their hands. Hey, you like bowling? Hey, so do I. We can find areas of common ground where we all agree on. And I think that's where we need to start, because you like some of the same things I like. So if I have an event, I could put everybody under that same roof to start those conversations. And that's what Monroe County United is doing. We're trying to find common ground with the community. And we've been working on that for a while. So with those three events, we're hoping that, we'll be able to start the conversation and to start the real conversation. And what is the real conversation? The real conversation is change. Right. But in order for that to happen, we have to be together. We have to be cohesive in our quest for change. Everybody speaks change, but are we about change? Right. That's what it has to be about. We have to be about it, but not individually. We have to do it collectively. And when we do it collectively, the voice is a whole lot louder than it is. So we want to start on that road with finding common ground. And then if we could bring everybody to the table with finding common ground, then we can start the process of talking about real change. And that goes under all the topics that everybody has been expressing, all through 2020, through the pandemic, whether it's health, whether it's gun control, whether it's race, whether it's a police reform or police brutality, there's a way to be able to have all these conversations. Right. But we have, in order to have them at the level that we need to have them, we have to find common ground first.
Wow. Tom, you said a mouthful, but just thinking about all three events that you just stated, to me, when I thought about everything, it's just like, wow, you're creating a space. You're creating a space for unbiased, that's what you want. That's the whole thing. Stop being biased, because if you be honest, all of us to an extent, we're biased, but I hear what you're saying. Everything that you said, I heard to create an unbiased space and place. And it is going to take a lot of work for us to get there, but I still commend you, Tom, for even just trying and implementing, because I know there's many leaders throughout the years, they try. And see, here's the thing. Behind the scenes, people don't know that the work that you and other leaders put in. They'll be like, oh, what's so-and-so doing? And what are they doing? But I have to say this because, I'm just going to call it out. I'm sick of it. See, a lot of people feel like, well, what are the leaders doing? But guess what? The leaders need someone to move. Like they have to have people to move. So if you saying, what are they doing? But then you just doing nothing, but you just whining and complaining, you're part of the problem. And I'm going to call it out. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, and you're not part of the solution.
Right, you're not part of the solution. You just want to whine and cry. There's a lot of people that want to whine and cry, but they don't want to do nothing. So it's like, at least do something in the community. Even if you can spend one time a month donating your time to something that's helpful to someone else. You just got to get out your own way. But again, Tom, I don't want to steer in the wrong direction because that's another show.
You said it.
I want to highlight you and all your attributes and all what you are contributing to the community here where we reside at. So, Tom, again, I salute you, and I'm so proud of the work that you are doing. And, I just want to thank you. But I know we talked a lot about what you're doing in the community, but before we leave, because, you're more than just a community leader, and you're more than just, the president or, such and such, you're also a father. So before we leave today, Tom, I'm going to ask you to do us a favor. And I want you to share a time where you had a special father moment.
Wow. I think I had a lot of those moments because, not only do, I have my daughter, but I also have fathered 4 stepkids as well. And I think those moments I had with all 5 of them is hard for me to pinpoint which one were they, because they, they were special because I was with them, and we either were laughing together or playing together, when I think about, when they were children, how I was holding their hands, crossing the street, all of those were special moments that I will hold on to. Being a father is more than just bringing them into the world, or making a baby. It's more than that, because with me taking over, the lives of those 4 kids that had a biological father was so meaningful, and their mother today tells me, hey, thank you for helping me raise my kids. And by the way, my son, that's your son, Tom. He's your son. Will hit me up and say, hey, Dad, happy Father's Day, and calls me, when he needs advice and things of that nature. But that's because a father shows fatherly love. You see what I'm saying? You have to be able to show that love and give that love so they remember the type of love that you gave them growing up, so they can say happy Father's Day. So being a father and to try to pick out one special moment, for being a father is so hard. I think the best moments is on Father's Day. That's where you get those returns to know that you are a father.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate that, sharing that moment, and I appreciate you. And everybody, we are running out of time, but Tom, thank you so much. If the people wanted to reach you and get in contact with you, where can you they follow you at?
Well, they can follow me on my radio broadcast where it's Our Community and You with Tom Jones. You can email me at ourcommunityandyou@gmail.com and watch our broadcast every Monday on uni.tv and radio at 7 p.m. and watch an informative program of Our Community and You.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. Well, everyone, continue to follow us here at the Lady K Chat Podcast. You can see us here on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify, and Apple, and all those great magnified 2 platforms. And don't forget to visit our website at www.ladykeenterprises.inc. And we will see you next Tuesday here at 6 p.m. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Lady K.